Hi, I'm Christina.
And I'm Matt.
And this is New Wayz Podcast. Today, our episode is based off of my trip to Bali I just got back from. Actually, I just landed yesterday, so I'm a little jet lagged. Bear with us. But yeah, our episode today is going to be about my experience in Bali, everything that I've learned from it, as well as the theme that you should kind of get from this today is trust. If you're trying to learn how to trust the process, yourself, the universe a little bit, learn to slow down in order to optimize your potential and who you are, today's episode is for you, as well as if you are just interested in Bali in general.
Yep.
I'm super excited.
No, and I'm very excited to get into some of these questions I have for you today because I got little updates here and there on your stay.
Yeah.
There for which, by the way, was for a month.
It was a while, yeah.
And also, we've been a month out of this podcast too.
I know.
I mean, even though we've been uploading weekly, it's just like we haven't been in these chairs for about 30 days.
They would never know we're gone.
They would never know that. I know. But it's really cool to see that you took some time for yourself to really, figure out what you wanted out of this trip.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of want to start there. What was your intention going into creating this experience for yourself?
It's so weird because right off the bat, I want to say my intention was to actually have no intention and just be extremely receptive to what was coming my way. I know typically when I travel, I like to be gone for a month in general because I feel like I travel for more than just I want to relax. I travel to get engrossed in the culture, to meet new people, have new experiences, and really get a feel for that area that I'm in. Because I feel like there's just so much more to the life experience than just seeing something on surface level for a week. You don't actually get what you should get out of all these areas and people that have can offer you.
Yeah.
But I chose Bali for this trip because I previously have been to Bali, so it was familiar for me, and it's just a very spiritual and calming area, and also we've done a lot in 2024. I was on the verge of just being tired. I'm I don't want to go home for the holidays. I'd rather take this time and go to an area that I know I'm going to be able to rest. And I'm not necessarily trying to take in everything. I'm just going to let everything come to me. Because when you go to an area you haven't been before, a lot of people, and I'm guilty about, is I need to do all the things. And you actually land up more tired sometimes than when you went. So I wanted something where I knew it was still going to be an enriching culture experience, but I could also chill and just let things come to me versus me trying to go after them.
In what ways were you taking yourself on that back step?
What do you mean?
Let me see. I want to rephrase that question. In what ways were you taking that back seat and allowing things to come to you? Yeah.
So normally too, when I go on trips for that long, I like to once again plan out certain things events or landmarks that I want to go to. But this trip, since I knew it and I knew it would be easier, I only booked my hotel room for the first 9 or 10 days, I want to say. After that, I literally just booked hotel rooms as I went on. I did not have any agenda. I tried not to be I want to go to this class tomorrow or go to this temple tomorrow or this day.
So you had no itinerary?
No. I literally, my intention was to go day by day with what was presenting itself to me.
Oh, that would freak me out.
Oh, it would freak a lot of people out. I've met people, they're so what are you doing while you're here? I'm I don't know.
Figure it out.
They're where are you staying? What areas are you going to? Because Bali is huge.
Yeah.
It's not big, but there's so many different unique areas to it. I'm I don't know. I'll figure it out. I had an idea, but I kind of just went with the flow, and it's worked out even more beautifully than I could have actually imagined. I didn't have any intention of it's so weird, right? Because when you actually give up that attachment to trying to figure out things or meet people, I feel that's when they always come to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no intention of necessarily meeting people to hang out with consistently while I was in Bali. I had a few people there, but oddly enough, when I was there though, the first day I was there, I ran into a fabulous girl who's from LA, and we ended up hanging out a bunch just randomly. I had no intention to even be with other people, and they naturally just gravitated.
Yeah.
So I feel really blessed where I met a lot of people. But yeah, I kind of just took it day by day. If there was a class that I thought was interesting, and it was like happening that day or within the next 24 hours, I'm like, all right, we're going to do that.
Nice.
If there was like a waterfall or something that came, like, yeah, I just went with the flow.
When you first arrived to Bali,
Mm-hmm.
what was kind of like your first experience while you were there?
So and once again, this is my personal experience. I don't know if everyone has this, but speaking with other people, a lot of people have this experience as well. Bali is literally just one big nervous system down regulator. I don't know what it is about that place. It could just be, once again, I believe in energy. It could be the energy of the people and the environment. You step off the plane, and I swear to God, my blood pressure lowered. I don't have high blood pressure, but it's just, you go from to, like, I don't know. It's just the second you get off the plane, it was hot and sweaty because it's their summer there, actually. We celebrated summer solstice while I was there. I did a ceremony.
Nice.
Even though it's winter here in the US. But it was definitely hot and warm and sweaty. And despite normally that would piss a lot of people off, you just feel calm.
Yeah.
That's my first thing with Bali. Secondly, it's just like the people that are absolutely amazing out there. I feel very much at home. But yeah, I would say that's probably like the biggest first experience with Bali.
Amazing.
Yeah, is the down regulation of everything.
That's so cool. What was like, I know this is not like an interview for like tourism purposes, but I've never been.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's like. I mean, I only saw through the pictures and, and posts you showed, but the thing is like, it looked so tropical.
Yeah.
And it was just so open and it was so green and it was so rich. And so what are some of the things that people do when they go there? Like what did you notice that a lot of people's intentions are when they go there?
And that's the thing is like, obviously every experience is going to change person to person, what you naturally gravitate towards and what you actually go looking for. So what my experience might be, somebody else might go there for a completely different reason, as well as I saw people there for a completely different reason. It's funny because when I was out there, I don't know if it was on Instagram or like somebody said this to me, it just stuck with me as someone told me people go to Bali either to find their problems and solve them or forget them.
Got it.
So,
Whoa.
yeah, like
right.
It's because that's what it does for you, though. It's like it has such a vastness of therapeutic ways, I guess. So if you want to face your problems, there's so many resources out there to you. Like Bali is huge. When I started in the spiritual center, which is Ubud, and Bali is huge on like yoga, meditation, like their religion, going to temples. So a lot of people, there's a bunch of people who go out there for yoga studies. And just people who want, like me, who will like, spas are extremely cheap out there. So like people just do spa days all day. Some people go to like visit the temples, which there are plenty of, and they all have a different story and a different energy to them. There's some that have like cleansing spiritual waters to them. There's some that have like these huge backstories of like dragons and stuff. There's an abundance of waterfalls. So that's something I always do regardless because I'm a huge nature person. I go out there for the nature. So in Ubud, the spiritual center, there's like a bunch of waterfalls. I went to like 3 or 4 in one day. But then when you go more towards like the Canggu area, it's a digital no man's like paradise, but I was also there for New Year's and it gets just extremely more like westernized in a way where it's just like it's a beach town. There's a lot of high-end hotels. There's a lot of like nightclubs and different types of like vacation-y stuff.
Yeah.
To say it's a lot more crowded. It's a lot more edgy. And then like also there's Uluwatu where it's like more of a surfer's town. Like surfing's huge out there. So it's either you're in like the middle of the jungle area where there's a lot of waterfalls and temples, or you're in the beachy area where it's like surfing and kind of touristy, but it has so much to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, that kind of brings me on to my next question, that Bali is, obviously very well known and very famous for its nature and it's, grounding and healing, waters.
Yeah.
And so that's, what was like your coolest nature moment while you were out there?
My coolest nature moment while I was out there. That's so hard to say, especially too, because I'm pretty sure one of my coolest nature moments was the first time I went, not the second time I went.
Interesting.
Because the first time I went is when I was going to like all of these temples.
Yeah.
I didn't do the temples so much this time because I already have been. Also, I saw Medicine Man my first time there. We'll talk about that. Like a traditional Balinese medicine man.
Oh, like from the movie Eat, Pray, Love?
Kind of like that,
Kind of very similar?
Yes,
Okay.
very similar like
That's
that.
amazing.
So we'll talk about that too when we get into like the spiritual / like mental health aspect of this.
Yeah.
But I think my biggest thing when it comes is just like seeing these amazing waterfalls.
Yeah.
Is my biggest like from this trip probably nature stuff. Oddly enough, the coolest thing that I saw like heard in regards to nature, which is gonna kind of tie a lot of this together, is some of the girls that I met out there on a day I wasn't with them, they did a waterfall tour or whatnot, and one of the Balinese men who was just like, the people out there are very connected to nature and like themselves. I think the reason why they are connected is because they don't take up space in their mind with things that us Westerners necessarily do.
In what way?
In the way where like they're very present in every single moment. I don't think that they really think too much of the future or the past. Like everywhere you walk around, they greet each other like they know everybody. And they might, but in my mind, I'm like, there's no way that my driver from like an hour away knows this person here, but you would think they all know each other.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, it's just they're congregating together. Everywhere, like they literally pause at minimally twice a day to give thanks to their gods.
Interesting.
Like I was talking to somebody and they're like, sometimes we have to even close temples because they're so big on just like praying and connecting. So, but back to the story is like a girl that I met and was having dinner with, she was like, dude, this like man when we were at the waterfall walked up to us and was like, your friend's like solar plexus is blocked. A random guy walks up to them when they were at a waterfall.
So, okay, what's a solar plexus?
So have you ever heard of like your chakras?
Yes.
Solar plexus is one of your chakras.
Okay.
And then the girl like looks at him and was like, what's wrong with me? And he's like, oh no, you're fine. And I'm just like, that relates.
That's bizarre. I love it, but I don't know. I'm sure it's sorry.
Well, isn't though, because I remember
but I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, but like, do you know how I mentioned the medicine man?
Yeah.
Is my first time in Bali. I actually went out there kind of searching for myself. I was a little lost.
Okay.
And I was like, so hence trying to find the traditional medicine man out there. And this man that I spoke with barely spoke any English, mostly Balinese, did a bunch of like weird stuff or whatnot. And then at the end, he's just like, your spirit's fine. But part of me, when you're looking for something, you're like, what do you mean I'm fine? Huh?
Yeah.
But then the girl was like, I was talking to this girl. I'm like, well, maybe do you ever think though that like that throws you off guard and you think something's wrong with you just because like you're hoping that there's something more because you're just not content in the moment. She's just like, because I'm like, we've both done a lot of work. Like that girl was, she's like, I wanted to hear something that I could fix because I've been fixing myself for so long.
Yeah.
But like, that's probably why there is nothing wrong with me anymore, is like, I've done a lot of work. But it's so weird though, because it just kind of proves though that once you like done a lot of work, you always think there's something more, when in reality, it might just be time for you to chill out, trust that you've done the work and let everything take its own path versus like searching for something else to fix.
Yeah.
So that was like something really cool that I like pieced together
That's
from her
amazing.
experience and my experience.
I mean, that's really cool that like you can have these sort of very natural, holistic, energy driven conversations.
Yeah.
But they happen so organically in such a fascinating way. And I think that's what I find so fascinating about the culture of Bali. How you were talking about the people in Bali are a lot more inclusive.
Yeah.
And, you know, more grounded and centered. And I think that's just such a beautiful way to be able to live your life. And the fact that like people live that every day. And we, you know, we as Americans take that for granted. You know, I mean, on a small scale, I saw a version of that when we were in Kauai.
Yeah.
And how everything was very slowed down there. Everything was, you know, very small pace. Everything was more about just being in the moment. And I would catch myself, you know, time and time again, when, especially when we were in Kauai, where I was like, we got to do this. I gotta go here. Gotta go, you know, and I was like, you know, I was like, we gotta like find these waterfalls, or, you know, go do this helicopter tour, you know, go do this and go do that. And then I realized, I'm like, wait,
we don't actually have to do anything. We just, as Westerners, and I don't want to generalize our like society out here, but it's just, we're so programmed to be like, you got to do something.
Yeah.
Go do something.
Yeah.
And it's like, huh?
I paid good money to be here. I am,
yeah, no, actually though, but I'm like,
we've all been taught that.
But I'm like doing essentially kind of like nothing is doing something.
Exactly. Because it's doing something for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took me 2 days to realize that. And then after that third day, I'll never forget going to Tunnels Beach and sitting there with you and Sam for like 4.5 hours, 5 hours. And it was one of the, still to this day, it is one of the most therapeutic experiences I've ever had.
Isn't it crazy that finally and I'm guilty too, like my Western brain takes control of me. Like it's a practice, but isn't it crazy when you finally get it too, and you finally allow yourself to kind of just like trust the moment, and that you don't have to be anywhere or doing anything besides what's going on right now. How like your brain just feels all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's like a weight is lifted off of you in a way. Yeah.
It is. And it's so important to be able to take those spaces and taking that time to find those centers that you have within yourself. And no, you do not have to go to Bali, to do this. No, you do not need to go to Kauai. You can do this simply in your living room, in your shower, in your bathroom. Maybe it's cooking a meal, whatever it is, that gives you that center, or that centerpiece, and being able to really sort of ground and hone in on yourself. And I think, again, coming back to what you were talking about earlier, it's just amazing to see an entire culture represent that. And it's just so beautiful to see. And so did you, speaking of like kind of coming back onto like obviously like the culture and the groundingness, did you meet any spiritual guides this time during your stay there? And if you did, who were they and what were they like?
Yeah. I surprisingly too, and it's so funny, I was thinking about this because when while I was in it, I'm like, I really haven't done that much. But like on my plane ride home yesterday, and I was thinking, I'm like, I did a lot for actually not really using too much energy or thinking about it, because it's so funny that
you went to class.
Dude, I literally went to classes out there.
Yeah, what was that about? Why were you going to school?
We'll get to that. But
education?
It's some but that's the thing. It's like it's so weird though, because when you actually let go of attachment to what you should or shouldn't be doing, you conserve your energy and you're not tired. So it feels like you really haven't done that much, even when you've done a lot.
Yeah.
So so in regards to your spiritual question, I did not see a medicine man this time, but oddly enough, so I celebrated my birthday out there. I turned 30. Woot woot. For my birthday.
She's old.
I know. No, I just keep getting younger.
30.
I keep getting younger.
Society.
Benjamin Button theory. We're practicing it. Anyways. So on my birthday, besides doing a complete spa package, which is abundant out there, and I want to talk about that because I feel like
and I'm gonna like pull up a photo of that.
Me and my bathtub.
we'll put it on the right here,
right there. But
sorry.
But I digress. So when I first went to Bali too, everything was so full circle this time. It's so weird. When I went to Bali 2 years ago, I learned how to read tarot cards.
Oh,
like I was in Bali. I'm like when in Rome, right? Yeah. So I learned, and I've been doing it ever since.
Okay.
Not like professionally. I'm not charging people or anything like that, but I do it for myself and I do it for friends. Mm-hmm. And oddly enough, like I thought I was like decently good at it, and like my friends even say I am, but I've never thought anything too much of it. For me, they're mostly just funs or little things of encouragement or warning.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I really want a professional tarot reading done while I'm out here, because if I'm anywhere getting a tarot reading where I don't think it's a scam, it's probably Bali or somewhere in that region. And also too, since everything is, not to be this person, but everything is cheaper out there. So I'm like, my tarot reading was $60, where if we're in LA, let's be honest, it's like $150, $200. So I'm like, we're doing this. Yes. Like it's insane. So I'm like, I've always just wanted one. We're doing it on my birthday. So I saw a tarot reader on my birthday. And let me tell you, I was excited because I'm like, oh, I get a different person doing it than me. Let's see what cards I pull. I want to say motherfucker so bad, and I'm going to, but motherfucker, I pulled the same exact cards that I pull back home. There are like easily, I don't know how many cards.
What does that mean?
So I don't know how many cards are in a tarot deck. but it's a decent amount. I want to say it's probably like 40 to 50.
Okay.
And most readings, you pull anywhere from 3 cards to like tops 7. With me and her, we pulled 5 for different readings that we were doing. So you have the opportunity to pull multiple different ones. I always pull the same ones.
What does that mean, though?
That means that I'm, in my mind, that they're clearly meant for me and something actually legit is going on. Because what are the chances of that actually happening?
Can you mind sharing what the 5 cards were?
So I don't know exactly, because we did multiple readings, your basic ones too. And even my reading, she's like, what do you want to know? I'm like, I don't freaking know, really. I don't know. Like, tell me what do you think I should know? And she's like, well, the major ones are like career, love life, how you're feeling, this and that. Yeah. So
compartmentalize me.
So something I thought was really interesting, which is the one thing, actually, though, which everything seemed to be based off around, like, I'm healthy and I'm active. I'm very creative, but at one point that got blocked off from me, and I've been trying to get back to it, which does make sense. Besides that, though, which is all true, another thing that she said was just, like, even in regards to anything, when it came to, like, career, the podcast, romantic relationships. I didn't ask about my family or friends because I, like, love where I'm at with it in that case.
Yeah.
But she it's so weird, though. Like, this is just so crazy because me going in, remember how I told you, like, I went through, like, that mild depressive state at the end of last year. And my therapist kept saying, like, Christina, take time for yourself. Like, stop running around in different directions. Wait until you're guided to put a foot forward. Stop just stomping all around. Like, save your energy, and you'll move forward and trust when it's time for you to do that.
Yeah.
That's literally what this woman, who I did not tell anything to, literally, especially because I'm like, I want to see what you know. She's like, is there anything you want me to know before we start? And I'm like, no. She's just like, why are you worried? Like, I pulled one card where it was like a lamb and it had like a light, and it's like, she's like, you know that you're like, not to be like woo woo, but like divinely guided. Like, your intuition is spot on. Like, you know this about yourself. Why are you questioning it? She's like, I get a lot of exhaustion from you right now. You're tired even though you're healthy. She's like, right now it's time to give. And I'm like, give to others? She's like, no, give to yourself. She's like, it's time for you to like relax. Everything's going to be fine. She's like, relationships, romantic ones, she's like, they're going to come to you when you're doing you. She's like, you don't have to go looking. She's like, you're on the right path right now. Just trust it. Like, literally told me that when I have not told her anything about the past few months with me. That's when I was like, huh. Also spot on, which is kind of a little bit off from that topic, was like, when we were talking about my romantic relationship, she's like, there's going to be 2 men in your life soon. And I'm like, she's like, within like the next 2 years or whatever. And I'm like, 2 men, really? Girl, I can't even find one right now. Anyways. And she's like, one's going to be the logical choice, and one's going to be one that like pulls at your heartstrings, like on a soul level.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even tell her about me. And she's like, you're going to choose the soul level one. And I'm like, of course, me not doing the logical thing, always just following my heart. You know, I do that.
Yeah.
Like, I've turned down plenty of people just because it didn't feel right, even though it looked right.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow. Like, I was actually just impressed with that situation that went on. And if anything, like, things that just kept popping up to me in Bali was literally like, take time for yourself. Like, trust. Please just trust the process. Trust that the only place you need to be right now is here in this moment, and everything's going to work out.
Yeah.
Which brings me to one thing that like I was sharing with you, and I kind of want to share this, was this journal I have. I brought my first time to Bali too.
Yep. And
I was reading a book while I was in Bali, and I would be writing notes or quotes. And I decided to bring the same journal back with me just because why wouldn't I if I had room? It makes sense. And I sat down and was reading this, and I'm like, holy shit, this is beautiful, and this makes so much sense for like where I'm at. The first 2 on this thing from my last trip to Bali, the first one was, you have to surrender before you win. And the second one, this is kind of long, but I thought it was so beautiful, is there's a kind of luck that's not much more than being in the right place at the right time, a kind of inspiration that's not much more than doing the right thing in the right way. and both only really happen to you when you empty your heart of ambition, purpose, and plan, and when you give yourself completely to the golden, fate-filled moment.
Wow.
I read that and I was like,
that.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And exactly what I needed to hear right now. And I wrote that the last time I was in Bali.
That's amazing.
I know, right? It's so pretty. But yeah. So after that, I kind of once again just went with the flow. So that was one spiritual experience that I had, was the tarot reading, and it was absolutely insane and reassuring. And it's still hard to practice though.
Yeah.
Especially because like me being a life coach, a lot of what I do is based off implementation, is it not?
Yep.
But I've realized there's a way that you can implement something without it getting an emotional toll on you, as well as without you forcing and just going with the flow and trusting that you are going to take the step that is necessary when it is time.
Did you, when you were there, and especially kind of taking what you have learned from previously being in Bali to also doing what you do as a life coach and now being in Bali a second time?
Yeah.
Was there anything that you took away from the second trip that you didn't know before?
I like love and I hate saying this because I kind of knew it, but it's also just more reassuring. So while I was out there, like you said, I took classes. And this is what I love so much is it's so weird because I'll be at a yoga studio and they're like, oh, we're having a class on like relearning love or like how to stop overthinking at like these yoga studios and restaurants. They're just promoting these kind of classes. And I think it's so cool because like you want to take a class like that, you need to be in some sort of like psych program out here, or you have to be with some type of therapist and pay minimally like $100. These classes are available to anybody who wants to sign up. Even if it was full, they were like bringing people in and making room for them. And the most I paid for a class was $30.
$30 US.
Yes, $30 US.
Wow.
And I'm like, and these were like 2-3 hour long classes with people who've been doing this for a long time, like written books and been on stage. Yeah, like speakers and stuff. And I think that is just such a valuable tool to have. And that's what I want to really try to do out here is I want to make things like this more accessible to everybody.
Yeah. Because
when it's accessible and when it doesn't seem like it's taking a financial toll on people, they're more inclined to do it.
Yeah.
And that's how we all start healing and becoming better people. But anyways, I digress. One thing I learned was that I'm listening to these speakers who have all these credentials. And I'm like, I've gained little bits of knowledge from a lot of things they've said, but I know a lot of things that they're saying. So if anything, that kind of just like, once again, I do think that I'm an amazing person and my heart's in the right place. But don't get me wrong, even with what I'm doing is like, I want to give the best possible thing to my clients in the world and to people I care about. Like, I don't ever want to come off as like a phony, that I'm not practicing what I preach, or like that I don't know what I'm talking about. That's why I do all these classes. But if anything, I'm reassured. I'm like, I've done so much work and I know so much. Like, I'm right there, like with the speaker, knowing what they're going to say next.
Yeah.
Already like learned all the stuff that they learned. So if anything, it was reassuring to me where it's like, you are on the right path. You know what you're doing. Like, why are you questioning yourself? You've done all the work, Christina, and you're continuing to do it even though you know it, you know? So that was like kind of inspiring, but also what was inspiring. And I want to kind of encourage people and the world to hopefully do, or what I think is great is everything that I think that we should prioritize in the US, which is anything mental health or physical health wise, is so accessible out there. Maybe that's why people are also more grounded and happy. Because I'm like, here in the US, we have made things so financially, time and emotionally tolling on people to get these resources.
Yeah.
But out there, I can walk down the street and find something that's going to help me. Yeah. Out here, you have to go looking for it, and you have to pay an arm and a leg and hope that it's somebody that actually knows what they're talking about. So that's where like one thing that I really applaud like Bali for and my experience there. And I know that it seems like a losing battle sometimes out here, but I encourage you, please just go and look for the resources and trust they're going to come to you when you're curious. Because I have found some in LA, more so than like Chicago probably or other areas. But that's where I just feel blessed to be around. Like that type of community is something that's just so powerful. To be in rooms with people who genuinely just, I would leave my bag sitting places and not be concerned about anybody stealing it. Like, it's just such a beautiful thing to like be a part of an experience and like have the opportunity to do all those things without second guessing any of it.
And to feel safe.
Yeah.
While doing it. That's crazy. And I mean, crazy in a good way.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's as a society, we really struggle with.
Yeah.
You know, fear is a very core issue. I think a lot of people really struggle with fear as a whole and figuring out how to move forward in the world that they're in. And so how would you, or what advice would you give someone who wants to go through a transformative experience like this?
Old Christina, and still me to this day, will preach this, but I think it's a combination of things. I don't just think it's one thing that's like, hey, you do this and you're going to be over your fear. Or, hey, you do this and you're going to get, you know, to me, the biggest way to overcome fears and start doing things is building confidence in yourself. And how does confidence come? Confidence comes by trusting yourself and doing the thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole, like, that's how you build confidence in yourself, is knowing you're going to do something and doing it. So the first, it's baby steps, like literally. And also just, once again, the theme of this kind of podcast is it's so hard to do sometimes, but just trust. Like, I feel like so many times we all get in our heads and we're all wrapped up in like the current moment or what other people are going to think or what could possibly happen. But in reality, like, the only thing that you should be worrying about right now is this present moment and how you're feeling or how you want to move forward. Trusting that, like, I know myself, I'm a good person, and genuinely, like, there's other good people out there. I'm going to, like, that's how you move forward. Is literally, I'm sorry, I wish, some people call it blind faith, and I do think it's kind of like that, but is it really blind if, like, there are other people and situations that have proven that when you just trust the process and go about things in a calm, level-headed, open-hearted manner, things work out? Like, that's pretty much what it is just having faith and trust that there's something more out there. Because I'm sorry, but what other option do you have than to trust the process? What are we going to do? Stay in the same situation we're not happy with? That doesn't sound appealing. What are you going to do? Get stressed out, which a lot of people do, about what is or what isn't? Yeah. Like, I think accepting that you really have no other option but just accept to, like, build confidence in yourself and trust and do the thing, then do it. And it's so weird, though, because once you start doing it, then it's like you do start to feel like you're invincible. You do start to feel like this is all going in the right direction. It's just, once again, taking that step. And I get it's scary. Acknowledging that it's going to be scary is, like, also a key part of it. I'm sorry, but, like, I wish there was something you could be like, take this. I mean, there are pills you can take, which you probably shouldn't, to get rid of your fear. But I wish it was as simple as, like, do this one thing and you're not going to be scared. No, you are. It's just making it your friend and trusting that everything's going to work out. Yeah. Because in reality, I mean, when you actually think about it, everything kind of does. So, I love that. Yeah.
No, long answer. No, it is. But the thing is it's truthful. And so it's the truth that you've seen for yourself. And not only that, it's also what you've experienced out there and how it's sort of related to who you are now. And I very much appreciate that.
Also, once again, we're kind of talking about, like, trusting the process, and also in a way, like, building communities and, like, stepping into a new light where, like, you make wellness and mental health part of your reality. Yeah. Where you make the world a bright and safe place versus a scary place. And that's why I love what we're doing here. And we say this all the time, but it's just like, everybody, I encourage you that, like, you might seem like the world's against you, but once all of us, despite if you have to, like, fake it until you make it type of scenario, like, if all of us as a collective just start thinking, hopefully, that the world is all going to work out for us and it's a good place and we all want to build each other up, guess what? It's going to happen. So as much as you think you're, like, one little person and you can't make a difference, it takes one person, then one other person, and then one other person. And next thing you know, this world is a little bit of a safer place. Yeah. This world is a little bit of a more, like, mentally and emotionally stable place. So it all just takes kind of us, once again, as a collective, believing it. That's just what I want to encourage people to do. But, like, that's what I found in Bali is, like, I did so many different ceremonies. I did a Blue Lotus ceremony. I did a cacao ceremony. And this entire room was just people being themselves, acting. With the cacao ceremony, we played, like, interesting music and everyone was, like, dancing and acting crazy, but, like, fun crazy. And I'm like, I've never seen so many people just be open and authentically themselves and just so much love and safety present in one place. It's possible. Yeah. I think one day somebody just told us all, like, that's not the way to live, or that's not the way that it's supposed to be. But I feel like right now we need that environment more than ever. So, like, that's what I just want to create here, and I want to encourage people to create, is, like, create those environments, create those people. Like if you think nobody's going to come, still do it anyways, because somebody might, you know, like I feel like people out there, like they're just more free to express who they are. And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, and you have me convinced. I definitely would love to take the opportunity to go visit this incredible place myself. So
I told you while I was there, I'm like, Matt, I wish you were here.
I know.
Even though you guys, I will admit, so they have like they all ride scooters out there, and every morning and despite me having a convertible out here, the most free feeling I had was putting on my bikini top, getting on the back of a bike, having someone drive me to the beach while we're going like 50 miles an hour, the wind through my hair, and I'm like, Matt would probably be having a heart attack right now, but this feels fucking amazing.
It's appreciated, noted, and I probably would, but that's okay.
Yeah, but no, it's like also on that note too, like just please do more things that make you feel free.
Yeah.
Like I read in a book while I was out there also that it's just like creativity comes from play. You can't have creative things or like new ways of thinking or build a new life if you're constantly just stuck in a box.
Yeah.
Like new things come to you while you're like free and open and having fun. So just do more things that make you feel free.
I do want to talk a little bit about this Blue Lotus ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
You've brought this up, and I have to kind of understand, what was that dynamic like? What happened? Why did you do it? And how do you feel like it might have changed you?
It seemed cool.
Okay. So where were you when you discovered this? Were you just at a coffee shop? Or were you just walking on the beach? Someone was like, come to our ceremony.
No, the girl that I met, oddly enough, though, like her friend planned out their entire trip. Like, I'm not even met. You would be proud of this itinerary. Color coded, times marked off. Like, girl is so good at Microsoft Excel. I was like, huh? So she showed me this and I'm like, can you send this to me? I just want to see what y'all are like doing, you know? And she's like, you're more than welcome to join any, like, let us know. Here's our itinerary. So on her itinerary, there was one place that I never heard about, which was called the Pyramids of Chi. And I looked at their website and I saw like that night I looked at it, there was a Blue Lotus ceremony. And I'm like, ooh, I've heard about Blue Lotus. I've never tried it. I just love ceremonies. I love a good sound bath. I love a good intention setting or just being around people in a collective environment, sharing good energy. Yeah. So I went to the Blue Lotus ceremony. Do you know what Blue Lotus is?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
No, I do not.
So Blue Lotus is it's actually a purple flower. And I guess it originated, like they started doing it in Egypt or something like that, but it's pretty much a tea. And I guess they don't sell it widely. They'll sell it in a lot of places in Bali, but I guess they don't sell it widely in the world because of its psychoactive effects, potentially. It's nothing like, I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, it's like you were doing like shrooms or something. No, it wasn't that intense. I know, right? Me personally, I wish I got a little more like out of it because I like losing my mind, but I digress. It's more of like a cacao effect where it calms you down. It probably gives you what you need, but it's essentially a flower that they make a tea out of, and it's supposed to like alter your mental status a little bit. And during the ceremony, it was so cool. We started off by like writing, because we were celebrating, it was the longest day in Bali. It was summer solstice. The day of the ceremony. I didn't know that when I went there. So one other thing is like with the season, like it was a few days before New Year's, like with the New Year coming, like we wrote down the Blue Lotus is supposed to like represent something, like where they're like, you need to crack open this seed, like what's been encasing that seed that's been protecting you, but you can let go of. So we write it down on paper. They had a fire outside. We all walked into the fire, threw it into the fire, walked back into the like ceremony area. She started playing sound bowls and like giving us a talk. And it was so cool.
What'd you put on the paper?
What did I put on the paper? It's probably the same thing that I've been saying, is that like I don't have to keep being like a hard ass anymore.
Oh, there you go.
Like literally me being physically hard has been like hindering me, and I'm willing to let that go.
Did other people share what they put in the fire?
No, none of us shared. It was just a very much like breathe together, be together, present. Like you don't need to talk. You just literally need to be. So I've been to ceremonies where we do talk about it, but this was one where it's just like, just be in yourself.
Okay. Which
was really nice. And that's the one thing I want to bring up. So like that ceremony too, $15 US. Like everything out there is so cheap. And what I really like is just like, so the average yoga class out there is $10. So which I did a lot of yoga frequently. And one thing that I love about Bali was like these classes, and they make readily available to you. They go the extra level. And like every yoga class that I went to was also like a therapy talk. Like the instructors, while they're walking around, they're not just being like, do this pose, breathe like this, they're like, connect with your breath. This is how you should be breathing in and out. Like we do this all the time and it's not serving us, and let that go. Or these are natural human postures. And like, that's like, it's like a talk.
Yeah.
And I think that is so amazing. And that's what I keep bringing this up, but I think is so amazing about Bali is that like, they do make everything so accessible all in one. Like everything is so holistic.
Yeah.
Like it's affordable to stay in these gorgeous places. I was telling you, I was staying at like 5-star resorts and the entire month, and I think I spent $2,200. Like the average taxi ride is like $1 to get to where you want to get to. Going to the temples, a lot of them are free and they're even donation based. Like the average spa package or like the average massage is less than $30 American dollars.
Amazing.
So it's just what we should be prioritizing everywhere in the world is what they're prioritizing there.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that I can do? I don't really know, to be honest with you, because I don't do a lot of bad habits. But like, why can I go get a cheap bottle of alcohol, but I can't go get like a cheap yoga class? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we need to untwist things. I think things have got twisted and priorities have got like manipulated in Western society sometimes. And I'm
For
like,
sure.
it's, yeah. Like, I just love how everything's so readily accessible. And once again, though, like, they allow people to hold spaces like that. It's so common. And I'm pretty sure, like, people can do so many of those ceremonies because renting out these spaces is cheaper out there. Yes, I get things are more expensive here. But, like, people also out there encourage you to take your time with things. I fell asleep in a coffee shop on one of the couches one day. Nobody woke me up or told me to leave.
How long were you out?
I don't know, like an hour and a half. In Bali, that's just a thing. Like, you buy your $1 coffee and
taking a nap at the local Starbucks, y'all.
But like, if you were in America, are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not even kidding you. I fell asleep in a cafe.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because a lot of these cafes, they do have like couches for you to sit on and like do your work. A lot of them are open air concept, like they're half indoor, half outdoors. I fell asleep on the couch. Nobody told me to move. And it was amazing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to join. I want this. I want to do this. This sounds fun.
But that's what I mean. I did so many things when I was in Bali. I did the Blue Lotus ceremony. I took 2 classes, one about relearning love, one about overthinking. I did the tarot reading. I did a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, which was only $70 and that's expensive for anything in Bali. But out here in the United States, one session is $250.
Yeah.
So like I did that. I got a total of 4 massages, one day being a complete spa day, where I did a hair mask, a face mask, a massage, and my nails done. Like, it's just, once again, I was telling our engineer here, Joseph, hey, that like, I think altogether I spent maybe like $800 on all the cool stuff that I was doing.
That's amazing.
And I was there for a month.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's cool though too, because just like if you want some tourist stuff too, like there was a beach where there were stray dogs and monkeys all in one place, and it was very amazing to see and fun. And the nature lover and the animal lover, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Well, I seriously, I know third time's a charm, but when you go back a third time,
like it's
100% coming with you. This just sounds incredible, and I can't wait to experience this the way you did.
Yeah, as much as like, don't get me wrong, I do feel a little guilty sometimes talking about it because like the traditional Balinese household is suffering. Like, it's a very poor country. I do where I can to obviously give my money out there. 100,000 rupee is $6 American dollars. And that's what I would eat. Like, I don't take it. And like, people out there don't even like taking tips. They're very much like just heartfelt like people, but like the country is poor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's just, it makes me think the world is so weird, right? Like Bali has all these things that I love and they prioritize. And honestly, these people that live there have like nothing and just seem so happy. Like they just love their families. They just love their gods, their God, their religion. And that's it. They want to talk to everyone and be friends with everybody. And I do feel blessed where like I talk about America. They're like, oh, famous country. Like they see us as extremely blessed because of all the things we have out here. Like I'm pretty sure if they saw my apartment and my car, their jaw would drop. But it's different forms of richness, I guess. And it's like you pick what's yours. And I'm like, I really just hope for a world where we have both forms of richness.
Yeah.
Financially and spiritually and mentally and all that combined. Like that's the world that I want.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In time.
It's a group effort, you guys, and we can only do what we can do, but we can continue to do it.
Yep.
So, altogether it was a great experience. I really encourage people to do it. And I took so much out of it, like more than we could even probably cover in this podcast. I don't want to bore people. If you have any questions, please let me know. But like the classes that I got and just like little insights from the people that live there. And
yeah. And what we can do too is underneath the video, what we can do is put a list of some of the activities that you did in some of the places you visited.
Yeah, completely.
So I think that would just be great for people who may want to take that jump and go there, and they can maybe see a list of the things that you did experience.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be great. Completely.
Anybody who's interested, please, like, my personal Instagram is probably somewhere on our New Wayz Instagram. Like, check out my page.
It's at the top.
Just check it. Like, I post so even from like back in, there's so many pictures from 2 years ago and this year from Bali. Like, please check it out. Reach out to me personally or our New Wayz. I will more than happily guide you in anything that you want there, help you in any way, shape, or form that I can. Because I just also feel like extremely blessed to have found this place, as well as had the privilege and the courage to go there by myself and experience it twice. Like, if I can help anybody, like I said, in any way, shape, or form, please reach out.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it. I encourage it. I love it. I want to share that little piece of heaven with you, please. So
amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions?
No.
How do you want to end it?
I just want to end the show with an affirmation that you learned or sort of, cultivated while you were in Bali.
An affirmation that I've...
Mm-hmm.
Is this an affirmation? Like, literally, the only thing... It's one word.
That's okay.
It's literally just... It could be multiple, actually. But, like, it's just... My biggest thing right now is just trust.
Amazing.
That's it. And from trust to me comes, like, everything will work out. I know it will. In the right time, in the right form that it's supposed to come to me. And it's also, like... Trust is a form of me taking care of me because it's not, like, my nervous system is not crazy anymore. It allows you to live in the moment and fully embrace everything that you have and just be extremely grateful for it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just, like, high off of life right now, and I really love being able to know that, like, it's all going to work out. Everything's going to be okay. There's nothing to go searching for. Everything that I need is right here in this moment, and that's it. Yeah. So
amazing.
Yes.
Couldn't said it better yourself.
Thank you. But no, thank you for giving me this opportunity and the space to share my experience with you and everybody else. I really appreciate it because it means the world to me that I get to do this here with you and share these experiences with people. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And
yep. Until next time, I love you guys.
Thank you so much. And keep shining.